Have you ever confused holding on with loving? Because sometimes the bravest thing a mom can do isn't to try harder, it's to loosen her grip, trust God a little more, and keep loving. Today, we're continuing our summer series of Letting Go. This is episode 28, The Courage to Let Go and Love Anyways. If you've ever found yourself holding tightly to expectations, outcomes, or the hope that someone you love would make different choices, this episode is for you. I'm joined by my friend Jennifer St. John, and together we're talking about what it really looks like to let go of control without letting go of love. This is a conversation about courage, trust, and learning how to stay connected even when life doesn't unfold the way we hoped it would. Jennifer brings so much wisdom and compassion to this topic that I cannot wait for you to hear our conversation. Hey, Jennifer, thanks for joining me today.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad to be here.
You
I'm
are
excited.
amazing. Let's tell our listeners about yourself.
Oh my gosh, I have such a hard time with this. Because it's like, do I tell you all the certifications or just that I love your people? So I'm going to start with I love your people. I have spent over 2 decades working with kiddos and their parents, either in classrooms or clinics or homes. And I started Journey Cove Coaching because of the phone calls I used to get from parents that fell through the cracks or the system just wasn't providing the help they needed. And I was like, it's okay. I got you. So I'm in your corner. I'm here for parents who are worn out from trying to do everything. Well, for trying to do everything right and still feeling like it's not enough.
You're amazing. I wish I would have known you 30 years ago, but I don't know that you were doing this 30 years ago.
I was still in school 30 years ago. Actually, I'm still in school, so I don't know how that's different.
You've just had 30 years of life experiences, and that's worth a lot.
And I always like learning more. So I am almost always still in some kind of program.
We went through coach training together,
We did.
which was like school,
It was.
but it was very fun.
It was. It was so good. That was a great experience.
Yeah, well, I'm so glad we got to do that and we got to meet there. What's something that you find parents really struggle with?
I think they take ownership of all of it. So right now I am working specifically with parents of kiddos that are preschool age. They're just at the beginning of that, seeing the gap between typical and maybe neurodivergent. And I sit down with parents and they're like, this is my fault. And I'm like, this is not your fault.
Yeah.
And so I feel like for me, the biggest thing I would want parents to be able to put down is that what is happening is inside their control. Because they will actually find they are more influential when they stop trying to control it.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love it. And I think that equates really well to teenagers, or if you have adult kids as well.
Okay.
The more you can realize it's in God's hands, they have their agency. It's a little bit different than with preschoolers because their agency is going to be something different. But when you can let that go, there's a lot of freedom that comes. And it's almost like putting down a backpack that you've been carrying filled with rocks.
Yes. And I feel like at that point, once they put it down, I was just having a conversation on Sunday. Actually, a parent came to me and she's like, hey, I'm trying to help my daughter who's a parent. And I said, I believe that as a mom, as a parent, you are given the gift of parenthood, which means ultimately, I believe you know how to parent your child. I believe God is helping you with that. What is getting in your way is all of your efforts to try and control, and you feel it too much.
Yes.
That sounds wrong, but you feel so much that all of those feelings are getting in the way of you using that gift that you've been given to be a parent.
Yes. One of the ways I got hung up as a parent was I felt like there was something I needed to fix, whether it was my parenting style, whether it was, consequences. I felt like there was something to fix. And when I finally been able to let go of the need to fix and realize there's nothing that I need to fix. Yes, there's times we want to take a look at what we're doing and analyze and assess and see if we want to keep going that route. It's all so child specific, but the overall need to fix, when I was able to let that go, there was a lot of freedom for me.
Yeah. And then the inspiration comes in and you're removed enough that you can be like, oh, hey, actually, this is how I want to help them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I took on a lot of shame of like, what did I do wrong? A lot of my fixing was, how do I fix me? Like, where do I fix whatever it is that I should have done differently? And accepting what is and knowing, looking back, yeah, we can always, that it's 2020 vision, right? We see things differently, but being in the midst of it, I think most of us really do our best. Sometimes our best is
100%.
amazing and sometimes it's not that great, but we're
Okay.
showing up.
You can cut this part out if you want, but my
Okay,
personal opinion is 100% of the time you're doing your best.
gotcha. Okay, tell me more.
100% of the time you are doing the best you can with what you have. And I think we don't take into account the exhaustion and the pressure to create humans that perform a certain way.
Yeah,
And like we take all of that. We're like, it is my job when the school is calling or when the church is reporting, like when somebody was reporting that my child is doing something that I don't want them to do, it is my job to fix it.
yeah,
Right. And then we spiral down an unhelpful path because shame isn't about production, right? Owning all of that isn't about being productive because we're too busy internalizing it. It's about my worth as a mom.
yeah. I see what you're saying.
So there's a big difference in my brain between my worth as a mom and my interactions with my child. And so their choices are their choices
Yes.
and not a reflection of who I am as a person or as a mom.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we get so tangled up in the mess of it that we can't tell the difference between who I am as a mom and a daughter of God and
Yes.
who this child is and their behavior and them as a child of God. Because it all gets tangled up and we think it's all the same thing.
Yes, I agree
Not all
completely.
the same thing.
Yes. I think where I was saying is I'm just remembering days where
Okay.
getting out of bed was almost the best I could do. That's what I meant by that.
Yeah.
But
Which is the best you can do.
yeah, that's true. Yes,
Yeah.
I need to re-articulate that because I see what you're
Hmm.
saying. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, and what you're saying is that we have a standard of best that's up here, and we often don't get there because in our heads, we're like, but on my best day, I am like killing it. But today, I'm not that person.
That's true.
And today, my best day is that you took lunch to school. Like, yay, you.
Yes.
I put food in your lunchbox. Yay, me.
I love that. I really do love that. I think we need to have more grace for ourselves as women and as parents and LDS moms with all of our stuff we have going on that we take on sometimes ourselves. But yeah, we do really need to have a little more grace for each of our days, no
And
matter
just
what you're.
remembering that we are inherently valuable.
Yes.
Like, as a mom, you are inherently valuable.
Yes.
And given, we just started, and I'm going to cry already. And given such an amazing gift of motherhood, and your audience and you have a very different journey than mine. My journey of motherhood is mothering other people's children
Yes.
and learning how to do that in a way that supports the mom who wants to parent them. And so, from my perspective, we see so clearly from the outside, right? than when we're in the mix and it's just all messy.
Yeah.
And so I have this amazing perspective of seeing how amazing these moms are, how hard they're trying, how tired they are. But then I also get to see the dance they're doing with their kid because I'm not in the middle of the dance. I love getting to untangle it. And again, I'm constantly learning how to untangle from behavior and identity and all of that and pull it out so that as a parent, you can show up intentionally the way you want to instead of being driven by the shame and the guilt and the fear.
Yeah. Do you remember Sister Tamara Ronia's talk a year ago where she put her arm in the air and said, "This is our worth"? And, then her other hand was everything we have going on. And I used to tie my worth to my children's actions.
Yes.
And it didn't matter what age they were. If the teacher from kindergarten was saying, "Your kid's kind of, swinging from the lights in here,"
Right.
I took it on like, oh no, like back to what we said a few minutes ago. How do I fix this? What do I need to do? I tied it to my value and my worth as a daughter of God and as a mom. I've been able to, most of the time, step back from that because I'm still human. I sometimes get sucked into it.
Of course.
That's been very freeing to realize, oh, wait, my worth is set. And so is yours. So are our children. So are the children you work with. Like, we all have inherent worth. And that is something that takes some understanding.
Yes. And the journey that I went on, again, is different than your audience because my journey of worth included that I didn't have children.
Yeah.
And so there was that journey of worth, whereas your journey of worth is they didn't have children. and this is my life. Like I did have children. I did the thing I was supposed to. Why isn't this easier than it is?
Yeah.
And that is the journey that your audience and that you got to go through to find your identity because you are a daughter of Heavenly Father and not because of a child or a spouse or your parents, that you are valuable and loved just because.
Yes. Oh.
And that inherent to that, when you can settle into that and love that, you allow yourself to come back into the presence of God. And then you get to hear what He wants to teach you.
Yes.
Because from guilt and shame I hide, right?
Yep.
Look at me. But when I can put that down and know that He loves me no matter what, I step into the space where He can be like, you know what might actually help your kid is this.
Yes. And when we realize that we don't need to fix them, but we're helping them, it makes a huge shift and a huge difference as well.
Which again, because they are inherently valuable to their Heavenly Father just because they exist.
Yep.
Which means they don't need to be fixed.
That's right. Yes. That's the thing I've been talking about on this podcast recently is what if there's nothing to fix? And that's sometimes hard to wrap your head around when it seems like everything has gone off the rails. But it does open up to personal revelation for you and the help you can give.
Yes. And the other thing that I have started to notice more is that as human beings, we all try on the behaviors.
Okay.
We all try them on. We try on biting, we try on stealing, we try on hitting, we try them all on, and we see how they work for us. And so I'll say when a parent comes up to me is like, oh my gosh, my kiddo just started biting at school. And I'm like, oh, they're going to try that one on for a little bit. Okay, how are we going to respond?
Yes.
And it kind of makes it so the parents are like, wait, I don't have to freak out.
Yes.
Don't. They're just trying it on. They're trying to see what happens after and if this is a beneficial behavior for me.
Yeah.
And if it's going to work out. And your teenagers are the same way because the world just got bigger, right? Teenagers have more access to the world than my little preschoolers do.
For sure.
And so now there's a whole new set of things to try on and to see how they fit. And as a parent, obviously, we've already tried all that stuff on and we know how it works. And I really wish my kids didn't have to try that on, but they do.
Yes.
And they did. And so How are we going to help them through that fitting?
I like that. I'm not sure that I've ever thought of it that way. I really like that analogy of picturing them just trying it on and
Really?
finding their way in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And as as adults and grown-ups, our lives shift and change, and we're trying things on as well. Like, how
Mm-hmm.
is this next chapter going to look for us?
Mm-hmm.
It's a continual growth.
And isn't it interesting that the one that we feel more comfortable, most comfortable, and comfortable is not the right word, but it's the one we leave on the longest, is shame and guilt.
Yes.
That is the outfit we leave on the longest, even though it is the most uncomfortable for us.
One thing I've noticed that I do is I have some negative emotions that I'm so used to that when they leave, it almost feels different. Even if it's a good feeling, it
Mm-hmm.
feels so different that it's almost uncomfortable. And
Mm-hmm.
then if that shame starts to come back, I welcome it really fast because
Yeah.
I'm really
Oh, there you were. I missed you.
aware. Whoo, I know you
Well,
so well.
I'm so glad I get to feel shame and guilt again.
Yes.
But it's a thing we do, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we just bring that on, and so much of that shame and guilt isn't actually about us. We're taking it from someone else.
Yes.
And again, it's that I'm choosing to make my identity about you.
Yes. That is huge. And one thing I wanted to mention before we move to the next topic is with my kids, my adult children, if they feel like I'm trying to fix something in them, it puts up the walls and the connection is more distant. Being able to shift from needing to fix them to just loving them opens up connection and love. If you feel like you're a project for somebody, you're either going to make life really miserable for them or you're not going to let them in.
And I actually think that that is true of every age.
Yeah.
When there is something you are trying to fix, even though they can't say why, and you didn't say, hey, I'm trying to fix you, but there's like this energy frequency around that that automatically brings up a wall. And I see it in the preschoolers too. I believe that is there. And your teenagers,
Yeah.
that's for your teenagers too.
Yes. Yeah.
Like just this, I don't want to say like oppositional defiance, but it's almost that just automatic defiant response we have when you don't think I'm good enough.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to fix me, then something's wrong with me.
Yep.
And if something's wrong with me, my natural reaction is to fight back. Like even with my preschoolers, I can see that you're mad. You are yelling at me. I can see that you are mad. Do you want to tell me about it? Thank you for telling me why you're mad. This is what our expectations are. And again, as they get older, that gets more complicated because the way they need to move through that is different. But it takes away their just automatic subconscious need to fight back if we just honor and love them.
Yes. One thing I'm really noticing with my grandkids that I don't remember knowing or noticing when I had small children is if they're acting out, oftentimes it's just I'm not understanding what they're trying to tell me that they want or need. And if I think about it, if somebody picked me up and told me everything I needed to do in the day, I would get very frustrated.
Well, and especially when your little brain can't handle that.
Yeah.
I mean, in my work, we use visual schedules a lot for our neurotypical and our neurodivergent kids, a lot with children on the autism spectrum. And so we use those visual schedules, but as even a neurotypical child in preschool, like that age range, their brains just don't hold as much as an adult brain does. And so adults are like, here's all this information. And the children are like, I got the first word and then I lost the rest. And so using that visual schedule to be like, okay, here's where we are, and then we're gonna do this and we're gonna do this. And then even when they come back and they're upset, we're like, okay, but we're right here and we have this and this left. And then we get to do that thing you wanted to do. It's just an orientation. It's grounding for
Yes.
them.
Yes.
Because as adults, we forget that there's so much a child doesn't know. I remember my sister telling me, so I nannied 3 little boys 20-ish years ago. The youngest one just graduated from high school.
Oh,
And I remember the mom was just frustrated with the youngest. Every time she was on the phone, the kid was out, mom, 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 right?
yeah.
Right? You've all had that experience. And she looks at him, stop interrupting, go to your room, stop interrupting. And this went on for weeks. And one day he comes out and, Mom, what's interrupting? And she's like, oh, well, and that's why you're doing it. Because no matter how many times I tell you
Yeah.
to stop, you don't know what that is. And so you're not going to stop.
Yes.
And again, it's just that rewind moment where you're like, do they actually understand? Because I am using a word that is a concept instead of one that's concrete.
Yes. Oh
You
my
don't
goodness. Yeah.
know. No, I don't know what interrupting is.
Yes. Yes. I remember saying to one of my sons, I am losing my patience. And a while later, he's wandering around the house looking behind pillows and stuff. And I said, what are you doing? He goes, I'm looking for your patience. And I'm like,
Right?
whoa.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we have those moments all the time because of the age gap and the learning gap
Yeah.
between all the learning we have done
Yeah.
and all the learning they haven't done yet.
Yes. Yes.
And when I'm working with parents, I'm like, okay, let's make sure that we've actually taught this concept before we start grounding them for it.
Yeah.
Because maybe they honestly don't know.
Yes. My granddaughter, this was a couple of years ago, she was probably 4 or 5, and she said she got in trouble and had a consequence. And I said, oh, what's your consequence? She's like, I don't know. Just knew she had one. It's like,
Right?
all right, I can see this is working well. But I love what you're
Huh?
saying because it's something I probably hadn't thought about in a while. Like, yeah, they're not connecting all of the dots.
No.
Yeah.
And that happens so often, which again, when as a parent we're stuck in the emotional spiral, we can't slow down enough. All we're seeing is that I'm asking you to do this and you are not. And all we're seeing is the gap, but we're not seeing why the gap exists. And so when we can just step back and be like, they are full on doing the best they can with the information they have, and I am doing the best I can with the information I have, and we set all the rest down, then we're like, you just don't know what the word means.
Yeah.
Okay, I can actually teach you that.
Yes.
Easy peasy.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Hey,
Why do you think it is so hard to watch someone we love use their agency differently than we had hoped?
because we love them. I think there is a hidden assumption baked into that. We think they should already know better. I think that's that same conversation that I think they should already know what interrupting is. I think they should already know that it's socially faux pas. I think they should already know why I'm frustrated. And I think they should already know how to do all of that. And it is seeing them as beings who will spontaneously combust into the person we want them to be versus me as a parent, teacher, coach. As we step into our teacher and coach role with our kids, everything changes. Because it's not that they're refusing, it's that they're still learning. And even your teenagers, they're just still learning. They're trying it on. And we love them so much, we don't want them to have to try that particular set of clothes on.
Yes.
We love them so much that we think they should already know better. And that's not where they're at. And so it can be really hard. I don't know. Did you teach your kids how to drive? Or did you let some school do it?
No, we did teach them mostly. We lived on a ranch, so they were driving in the fields at a much younger age than is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they learned quite a bit younger and were,
Yeah.
better at it
So-
than some kids.
The only time my dad ever hit me was when he was teaching me how to drive. Legit. I was driving. I didn't hear that the engine was already on. And so I turned the key because cars used to have keys.
Yep.
And I turned the key and it started making that grinding sound. that it makes when it's already on.
Yep.
And he full on reached over and hit my hand. And I'm like, my dad just hit me. Because my dad didn't do that. But I think as parents, did you ever reach over and take the wheel from your kids when you were teaching them to drive?
Yeah.
Yes. And I think sometimes as we're raising kids, we want to do that same thing. That I love you so much and I want you to stay alive and I don't want you to hit that bus that's in front of us. So I'm going to reach over, I'm going to take the wheel and we're all safe. Yay. But you didn't learn anything except that you were in danger.
Yeah.
I think we try to grab the wheel instead of guide the journey. And again, it's us stepping out of that teacher and coach role and into your actions are my responsibility, which is so heavy.
Yes.
Whereas sitting down and being like, okay, did you see that car? How did that feel? Like, and going through the process of this experience that they just had and listening to their side of it, but then also taking the moment to teach. And sometimes all you're teaching is the expectations in your home.
Yes.
I get that you want to do that, but that's not part of our culture and that's not something we do in our home. If you're going to do that, you do it outside the home. That is all it is that we're teaching what's appropriate inside our home because who's to say what's appropriate in the world?
Yeah.
Everyone has a different opinion, right? But it doesn't matter what age they are when they use their agency differently than we hoped. We get to have a choice. We get to grab the wheel or we can sit back. I have a concept that I teach that's called sitting in neutral. It is identifying the situation or the behavior, but only what's visible. Like if you and I were looking at the same thing, we have to use words that would make sense to both of us. I asked the child to put their shoes on. It has been 5 minutes. Quantitatively, I looked, and their shoes are still not on their feet. And I might want to drop this still. Their shoes are not on their feet. And you and I can both see that their shoes are not on their feet. But then I create the whole, they should be listening. I don't understand what's happening. And now we're not in neutral, right? So if we can go to that place where if I tell you what's going on, the picture you're creating inside your head is exactly the same one as I'm seeing. When we can stay in that space, then it's not about me as a parent and it's not about them as a human being. It's just that this happened and then this happened.
Yes.
And we put ourselves in a place where we get to decide, are we going to grab that wheel, which is usually an emotional reaction, or are we going to sit down and make sure they actually understand how to put their shoes on? And it's very different, but painful for us because we think they should already know how to put their shoes on.
Yes.
We think they should already know how to drive the car without us teaching them how.
I know one of the things one of my clients brought up was her frustration because she said, I've taught them. Speaking more of teenagers or young adults, I taught them this. That's kind of where I went to with her. Like, I sat in physics class. I couldn't tell you one thing about physics. I was there. Somebody else picked stuff up. I didn't.
Right. And again, I work specifically with kids with autism whose learning process is not specifically. When I am one-on-one with a child, it is a child with autism. Their learning process is different, but it's different from the other child with autism I work with as well. So for me, it's very much investigative. Like I have to figure out how this child learns because sitting in a classroom and having a teacher talk to them, they're never going to get it.
Yes.
And that doesn't mean that they're not a genius. It means you saying words in my direction means nothing to me. That being my experience, it also colors how I work with parents of neurotypical kids because I automatically say, okay, but that doesn't mean they understood.
Yep.
That doesn't mean that words are how they comprehend, especially if we're using words like interrupt. That is a concept that they don't understand.
Yes. I picked up one of my sons. He was probably sunbeam age, 3 or 4 years old, from his primary class, and the teacher handed me his shoes and his socks and his tie and his vest. Like he just would go in and, everything but his pants and shirt came off his belt and everything. And I asked him, I'm like, "Hey, buddy, what did you talk about in class today?" And he said, "Special dishes." And I was like, "Okay." I'm like, "Helping mommy?" And he's like, "No." And that look a 3-year-old can give you, like you're an
Mhm.
idiot.
Okay.
Somewhere during that week, somebody mentioned the golden plates, and he was like, "You got it." I mean, that's from a 3-year-old understanding. And I think the same thing happens. And there's times we have to have experiences for us to understand
Then
what somebody's trying to teach us.
we actually had someone at the clinic 2 weeks ago. Parent called in, says, my kid told me they're playing a licking game after using the bathroom, which obviously sounds terrible, right?
Yes.
Because again, these are preschoolers. They're not in school. He's going home and he's telling mom that we play a licking game with him in the bathroom after he goes bathroom. So we go and we talk to his person. And we're like, you want to tell me what's going on? She's like, yeah, we play a flicking game where we flick the water off of our heat ones. But the child heard licking and started licking all of the staff, all of them, and then went home and told parents about this really fun game. And unfortunately, I think this happens more often than not. It's just that only sometimes do we get to see it all.
Yes.
Like, we don't always get to have the moment where they're like, the gold plates. And we're like,
Yes.
oh, okay.
Yeah. Yes.
But
I don't know how it magically got worked out in the same week, but thankfully it did, or I would have never got to the bottom of the special dishes.
right.
But
And
when the light came in his eyes, I'm like, "Oh, I completely see. Golden plates, special dishes
pretzel dishes,
can makes
100%.
total sense." Yeah.
And talking about the flicking game, and he hears licking. He's not thinking about his hands at all. He's just like, oh, now I get to lick you.
Yes.
Like,
I guess, thank goodness, as humans, we are so diverse and creative and fun, and it just makes this world a lot of crazy funness.
it does, but really only when we can step back, right? Be like, oh, I can see. I can see that this isn't about me.
Yeah.
This is about you playing a flicking game that turned into a licking game, or you were paying attention even though you're stripping all of your clothes off because you remember that it was about the gold plates.
Yes. Yes, for sure. What would you say to the mom who feels overwhelmed or exhausted from all the worrying? Because I think you deal with moms, I'm sure, that have worry for those little guys. And then there's worry in teenage years, the junior high years, adult years.
Well, then our kiddos are getting ready to go to kindergarten. And so there is a lot of worry about what that is going to look like, right? But it doesn't matter, again, what stage of the game we're in. You're going to find something to worry about because it's very easy.
Yeah.
It's very easy to worry about your kids. Again, I think it's one of the coats that we find we put on most often. I would just remind them that worrying isn't keeping their kids safe. I would suggest that worrying also takes us out of the space where we can actually teach and coach our kids. Because I'm so worried about a future version of you that I'm not present with the current version of you, and therefore not stepping into my teacher coach role and helping your future you be who it needs to be or who it chooses to be. Because our worry isn't doing anything for them. It's just us. We're the only ones feeling it. Other than they feel it in our relationship with them,
Yep.
but they don't have words to describe it. We're not willing to tell them because that's not something like, well, I just worry about you all day long. I pray about you. Like, we tell them that we pray about them. We're like, no, I legit am afraid you're going to end up in jail or dead on the side of the road. We don't tell them that.
Yeah.
We just hold it all inside, and it is affecting how you show up as a person, as a parent. And when you are so worried about them, you just grab the wheel.
Yes.
Because you're going to force them to do whatever's going to keep them safe. And you're doing it out of love because you love them so very, very much. But the shift I would offer is moving into an intention. How can I prepare them for a future where they might be faced with a similar choice again? And what would I want them to know the next time they're faced with that same choice? I don't like how they handled it this time, but what do I want them to know the next time they're faced with that choice?
I love what you just said about worry, that it's not changing the outcome. And I forget that sometimes. You think it's helping or it feels like it's useful,
Feels productive.
but it's not.
It's not doing anything for you. It's keeping you stuck so that you're not showing up the way you want to, because all you see is all the terrible possibilities in the future. And there aren't. There are so many terrible possibilities in the future. There are so many wonderful possibilities in the future. The future is full of amazing, wonderful, and horrible, awful possibilities, but we tend to focus on the awful ones,
Yep.
not the amazing, wonderful ones. And then we're not intentionally working with our kid when they make choices that we disagree with. We're punishing, I guess,
Yes.
instead of teaching.
Yes. Is there anything else you would like to tell the moms that are here listening today? The women, these LDS women that are trying to show up and do the best that they can.
I just want to circle back to, sometimes people say that they have a ministry, a purpose. There is a focus. People have a focus of their lives. And the one thing that I have always known so strongly that I wish I could take out of my being and put into other people's beings, I wish I could make them, I'm going to take the wheel from them and just like shove it in, is that you are loved and valuable. Like, you are loved.
Yes.
So loved.
Yes.
And there's nothing you can do to change it. And your children are so loved, and you are just the right person for them. Just the right person, because God doesn't make mistakes. So if I could transfer that knowing to your audience, that is what I want them to know, that you are loved and that there is a gift of parenthood that you were given when you chose to be a covenant parent.
I completely agree. Thank you for sharing that. And did you have something you wanted to offer the audience?
I do. So I have just a 5-part email audio series. It's called Anchored at Home, and it is just a simple framework you can use at home that is helping them and you find your purpose at home. All human beings need 3 things to feel complete or content, and that is something to love, something to do, and something to look forward to. And so I take those 5 audios to show you how you can do that for your children inside your home. And so I think if you'll link that into your show notes, it'll be available to them.
I will definitely do that, and I will be grabbing that for my own self because you're amazing. Thank you so much. I could talk to you all day.
I know, right? This was so great. I'm kind of sad it's over, but that was fun.
I will have you back because I know you're resonating with the heaviness that women are carrying in their hearts.
My specialty seems to be your kiddos that have a lot of those loud behaviors that have your parents in tears.
Yes.
I would be happy to come back because I got you.
Oh, you're the best, and I will definitely have you back. Thank you so much.
You are welcome.
Thank you for spending time with me today. If this conversation touched your heart, subscribe, follow, and share this channel with another mom who may need hope too. You can also explore more videos here on faith, mindset, parenting adult children, emotional healing, and finding peace in hard seasons. Remember this: your child's story is still unfolding, and so is yours.